Busted out the black shirt because we got some horror to talk about, people. Hey guys, it's G from the F Word here to review the Netflix original, The Ritual. Now, basic premise, this is a non-spoiler. 4 friends head out into the Scandinavian forest, the mountains, all that stuff to honor one of their friends. Tragedy strikes between their group of 5. They're now a group of 4. So they're out into the forest, they're out in the Scandinavian mountainside, all that stuff. They go, they honor their friend. One of his things was he wanted to go and travel out there. These guys kind of started off in the beginning of the movie talking about where they wanted to go as a group. And unfortunately, they end up going there under those circumstances, but they go anyways. Now, someone got the bright idea, as most people do in this kind of case, to head down the beaten path and just explore a little bit. Not the best idea. Nothing good ever comes of that. I mean, I think we could have learned that by now. So they go off anyways. They go exploring. Some things happen to the group along the way. Some guys or whatever. Again, no details. They come across this really, really creepy ass little hut with some creepy ass stuff inside. And now we get into the real meat of The Ritual. That's as far as I'm going to go for the most part. I'm going to try again not to spoil anything because guys, you need to check this thing out. But we're going to get right into it. Let's get into the good stuff. So right off the bat, I liked all of our characters. I liked their dynamic together. The one guy I specifically remember from Downton Abbey, hated his character in Downton Abbey, but he's a good actor. And he's in this in a much smaller capacity. All the guys that we have here feel natural. They feel like they have been friends for a while. Just the way that their dialogue is, how they interact with each other. But because of the death of their friend, there is this underlining kind of weirdness between all of them, an unspoken truth that no one really brings up just for the sake of the group. They're going there to honor their friend and they're kind of just keeping this thing under wraps, but it's there and it stinks. It's like the poop in the corner that you're just like trying to avoid and keep things light, but it just starts lingering in right under your nose. And if you pictured like cartoon smoke is coming up, yeah, it's kind of like that. But they do a really good job with the characters. The writing was really good. There's a lot of real heartfelt meaning towards this where these guys are trying to get over what happened and they still can't because, I mean, if you lose someone from your group of friends, it is really hard to kind of go on like everything's normal. The other thing I really liked is the setting and the way that this is shot is super creepy. Like, we've got hints of Blair Witch in here. We've got hints of Hannibal in here. We've got hints of just other movies that are taking place in a forest and it's really creepy and there's mist and everything like that. And you just get this uneasy feeling. So that was done really cool. They really created a large setting in this forest that you never want to go into. And of course, things happen within there. And what I liked about it is that they didn't really rely on any real crazy jump scares. There are some moments like that, but they don't rely on it like some horror does. And so you do get this just kind of creepy feel throughout the whole thing, and these guys are feeling it as well. We've got a running theme of guilt and fear as our foundation to this whole movie. At least that's what I got out of it. And so a lot of that is manifested into what these guys are experiencing in this. There's a lot of weird things going on. They can't pinpoint what's going on. It just happens and they're trying to figure it out day by day because the night is dark and full of terrors. Now, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say that as far as horror goes, this one does a really good job of giving us the goods without leaving us feeling empty. Sometimes you get into the horror movies and they have this weird thing kind of lingering around. They never show it and you're just supposed to kind of piece it together. Here, they go for it. They go for a lot of stuff. They answer a lot of questions that are around. But they do it in such a way that isn't like The Village where you're kind of left like, that was it? Like, what the hell? They have a satisfying conclusion to everything that was happening. And when you see what you're meant to see, it's really cool. It's extremely imaginative and it does play off some Norse mythology, which I don't know if that's a spoiler and forgive me, but it's just, you will not expect this. I guarantee it. Anything that you're thinking in your mind, you will not expect this. And it's just very cool and it's realized in a very good way. So I'm not sure. I'm going through this and I don't really have anything that sticks out that's glaring. I liked a lot of what this movie had to offer. And so when I'm thinking of the negatives, it's very minor. Things like when they do introduce the jump scares. Again, I'm not a fan of jump scares. They don't really make me want to jump. I just feel like they're an unnecessary trope that they use. And in this, some of them did actually work. You know, some of them just didn't land as well. The sound design could have been a little bit better too. And the reason I say that is that there are moments where you will be getting that build up. And sometimes, for the sake of giving you a real shock, they cut that build up short. And it's really a fine line. It is really an art when it comes to it, because if you linger on too long, you lose interest. If it's cut too short, it doesn't have the same effect. So a couple of moments I felt didn't land as well, building up the music and building up the other sound design and the effects that are around it. But again, very minor stuff. Overall, guys, this is a huge surprise for me. I'm not a massive fan of horror, but I do like it when it's done well, and especially this type of horror. It messes with your head. There are some really great themes in here that are, again, fully realized. Everything makes sense. These characters do work well together. You feel like they are friends. A lot of stuff that happens does work really well. And the one thing I never mentioned in the good is the natural progression and pacing of this is really well done. This is relatively long, and I was engaged the whole time. There wasn't a moment where I was looking at my watch or checking the timer on Netflix and seeing how much time is left in it. It really does a good job introducing all the pieces before we get to the very end to fully realize what each of these pieces mean. So I really hope you take a look at this. It's really worth your time. And if you like horror, I think you'll like this too. And make sure you come back here. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on The Ritual, because I'd love to hear from you. And I really hope that this ends up being a surprise hit for you as it was for me. So that's my quick review of The Ritual, guys. Let me know once again in the comments below what you thought of it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that little bell to get notified all the videos that keep coming up so you're up to date on everything. You can email us at thefwordpodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at thefwordsg. And make sure you're following Entertain Facts. We did another live show yesterday that we released. We released it on YouTube, but it's really great when we have about 130, 150 people there, and we're talking about the news and constantly getting feedback from you right away. It's a lot of fun, and I hope we can see you there. Usually they're Fridays around 8 o'clock, and we're doing it a weekly thing in lieu of the weekly roundup. I'm G, and I am out.